Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of That Interview Show. It's been a while, I know. Hi. I am your host, Julian Meyers, and today we'll be interviewing... Dun, 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 dun.
Hello. This is not a great view. Hi, I'm Jodie. I was here last time. Now I'm here again.
Yes, we're doing a part 2, a follow-up on Jodie's progress in the transgender sphere.
Transgender 2 Electric Boogaloo. The hit sequel to being Trans 1 is alright, it's pretty good. Trans 2, even better.
Always. The sequel's always better than the original. That's what they say in Hollywood, isn't it?
That's what they say.
So, I guess we'll briefly introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I mean, obviously the part 1, so you can take a look at that. We filmed it in, I think August of 2018, and it came out in September of 2018, so it's like an hour and 20 minutes, but it goes through a lot of details of not just her life, but also, the
what
names
it's like to
and
be trans, labels definitions.
All the fun stuff. Literally all the fun stuff. Yeah. This time it'll be boring. No, this time it'll be more personable towards her. Yeah. So yes, introduce yourself.
Sup, I'm Jodie. I'm 21 years old. I'm a trans woman. I started transitioning in middle of 2017. I started hormones about 2 weeks before I filmed the original video, so I'm going to have a lot of updates there because it's been like a year and a half now. I'm a student at Swinburne University. We filmed the last one on campus. I'm real gay, very gay. Is that a good introduction?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Cool.
Fair enough. I guess if I don't know, should I detail, do I need to detail my pronouns or anything?
I use she, her, or they, them pronouns. Excuse me, talking over
Sorry,
worst into I use she, her, or they, them pronouns. Would you like to say the pronouns?
Yeah, I'm, he, him.
You use he,
yeah,
pronouns,
I'm a normal person. No.
Standard cis pronouns, don't know what pronouns mean, but uses the ones that they were given at birth.
Yeah.
That's the...
So, as per always, I have questions written up on my phone here, except because it's hard to write questions these days, we wrote general topics. So, to begin with, we'll start with section 1. Hip new title called You, Yourself, and Jodie. Hi. So, I guess we'll just go straight into, in contrast to last time, with the physical changes and your progress with HRT and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. So, like I mentioned, I started HRT about 2 weeks before we filmed the last one. So I was, at that point, very excited about HRT, just starting to, it probably wasn't any real changes, but starting to get hyped up and being like, maybe this little thing is changing. Maybe I can see this happening. And at 2 weeks, you're like, not really. But that's fine. I've been on HRT for about a year and a half now, so August 2018 to now, it's about a year and a half. What's happened there? I've been on Progenova, which is an estrogen pill. The entire time I started on a low dose of 2 milligrams a day. I'm now on a 6 milligrams a day. That just happened over time. I'm also on another drug called progesterone, which, the drug is called Ralavira, or the brand is called Ralavira. The drug is progesterone. It's a progesterone. That just does similar things to estrogen. It kind of buffs estrogen, I guess. It makes estrogen's effects more fulfilling, is a word I can use technically. And I tried testosterone blockers for a little bit, on and off. Didn't really do it for me, but that was fine. In terms of what's changed, my skin is softer, my face is fuller, my thighs and butt are fuller. I have boobs. I grow less body hair and it grows back less quickly. Just all the standard things that are meant to happen when you go on hormones, really. For the most part, I don't think physical changes are going to change much more radically in the future. I think I think there would definitely be some changes, but I think for the most part, this is about where it's at. A year and a half is a good point to sort of be like, you've done the majority of the things that hormones are going to do for you now. So that's cool. I'm really happy with my body type. I'm really happy with where the transition is physically. I could quite easily not change physically anymore and be happy for probably the rest of my life. So that's really good. I'm very lucky to be in that position because lots of people aren't. I guess that kind of leads into the next part of this question, like surgery stuff, right?
Yes. I think we'll talk, just because I just realized,
absolutely.
with obviously the drugs that you're taking for the changes, are they like prescription taken? Does a particular doctor have to be like, yep, this is what you need to take and whatever?
Yeah, so I go to a doctor in the city, in Melbourne, a place called Equinox. I've seen a variety of doctors there. And yeah, the drugs are prescription, hormones are prescription. At Equinox, they have a policy of informed consent, so if they inform you that all of the things that HRT does can and will happen, and you are over the age of 18 and don't have any significant reasons that they would question whether you can consent to that, then that's all you need. You don't need a letter from a psych, you don't need, any other sort of formal, rigid permission that you do need at some other places. Informed consent is a really good option because getting non-informed consent HRT is very hard and much more expensive, much more time-consuming for trans people. So, yeah, so it is prescription. It's pretty cheap. Most of the drugs are on PBS. Progesterone, the one that I mentioned, there's a thing about that where there's a micronized and non-micronized progesterone. I can't remember which one I'm on, but I'm on the one that is much cheaper because one of them is on the PBS and the other is not. So one of them is like $1 a pill or something absurd, like you pay like $50 every time you go fill up. Whereas mine is like $10 for 2 months worth or something. It's pretty reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I guess then we can go into
The surgery
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I don't remember what my opinions were last time on surgery, because that was a long time ago.
I think you specifically noted how it was expensive.
Yes.
I definitely remember that.
It definitely still is expensive.
Yes.
In the past year and a half, I've not found many loopholes around the expensiveness. You can get on some insurances that will cover X amount of thousands of dollars, but definitely not all of them. So yes, we're specifically referring to bottom surgery, which is specifically for genital reconstruction. That surgery is very, very expensive. I don't really have any interest in doing that. If it was literally free, it might be a different question. If it was literally free and not like several months of recovery, it might be another question. It'd be kind of cool if I could just, press a button and switch things, I guess. But in terms of getting that sort of surgery, yeah, probably not. So much money, so much time in recovery. I'm pretty fine with how things are at the moment. That being said, there are other surgeries that trans women can get. There's an orchiectomy, which is we're gonna get a bit into the graphic descriptions of body parts here. Orchiectomy is just a removal of testicles. So that is an option that some people do. It will definitely decrease your testosterone levels. You'll never have to take T blockers again in your fucking life. And some people like that. It's still probably it's definitely in the thousands of dollars, probably in the $10,000 range for that surgery. So for me, it's kind of same boat as the other one. Really expensive, really long recovery. Doesn't seem like it would benefit things enough to justify that. And then the other one that is pretty common is, well, actually there's two more that are pretty common, but one of them is a tracheal shave, which is where they do a little surgery on your little apple, your little sticky out bit in your neck, and that will get smaller. And it also has a lot of times it will change your voice box a bit and make your voice a bit higher up naturally, so to speak. I think last time we spoke, that was definitely something that I was interested in.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper. It's about it's definitely less than $10,000. It's definitely more than 2 or 3. Right now, where I'm at, I feel pretty comfortable with my voice. I only ever have problems with my voice if someone misgenders me over it, which does happen a decent amount of time, but I don't really care anymore. I'm just not that bothered by it. We'll get into this a little bit more throughout the interview, but my gender is much less binary trans woman, and it's a lot more sort of fluctuating, quite comfortable being referred to as non-binary, they them pronouns. I like to wear mask things sometimes now, etc., etc. So, in terms of surgeries that will feminize me in any way whatsoever, probably not going to do it. The other one that I was going to mention is called facial. What's it called?
Reconstruction?
Facial reconstruction surgery? Yeah, I just can't remember if that's the right like FRS. I don't know. Anyways, that is what it does. It's essentially, they just fuck up the bones in your face and go, this looks more feminine. If some people have faces that they think really look masculine. It's very expensive, and so much recovery. I would never do that, ever. Yeah, not for me. I've got the hugest fucking nose in the world, and I don't care enough to go anywhere near that. So,
fair enough.
That's surgery things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we could discuss the. I guess so. You haven't had any particular surgeries yourself, or
I have had no surgeries. I broke my wrist when I was 17, and they put a cast on it, and they put me under to put the cast on, but they didn't cut anything. So no surgeries ever.
fair enough.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well,
Just wanted to really clarify, get very thorough with that answer.
That works. Yeah. I guess we can go into talking about the more womanly side of now being a trans woman, how you dress and how the makeup and how you design yourself.
Yeah, sure. So when we did the last interview, even though I was only just starting HRT, I had been out as a trans woman in most spaces for about a year, at least half a year in most spaces. I was out at uni and work and with my family and with my friends at the time of recording. In the video, I'm wearing a dress. I wore dresses all the time. Still wear dresses sometimes. My wardrobe is more diverse now, I guess. I often will just wear shorts and a singlet or shorts and a shirt. And yeah, but the thing about that is that sometimes they're shorts that I got in the women's section of Kmart, and sometimes they're shorts that I got in the men's section of Kmart. And I don't care about wearing either most of the time. Sometimes I like to look really femme. Like today, I put on makeup for the first time in 3 weeks. Because, I'm on camera and that feels nice. It's nice to have a reason to do that. But most of the time, I'm just like, fucking, I don't care. I'll just wear whatever. Dress for the weather, dress for the situation, I guess. I like getting dolled up for fancy events. If we're going to a 21st or like some ball or some shit, I'll get dressed up. I'll put heels on, and that's fun. It's a really nice time.
I guess to some degree we'll probably be showcasing images of
Yeah, we talked about
Jodie
that.
in the past year.
Yeah,
and a bit.
I had this idea to throw in like 10 or so photos from the last year and a half to be like, these are the things that I have worn and also what my body has looked like in a year and a half's time.
Yeah.
So if that's in the thing, it'll be on the screen now. Oh, look, oh, she's so beautiful. Wow, oh, perfect. But yeah, that's really it. I just don't. I'm just chill. I'm just chill about it at this point. And I super respect people that are much more linear, that want to go super hard in one direction. That's just not me. Like my gender identity has fluctuated, so I'm not just a binary trans woman anymore. I'm not just a hyperfemme wanting to be gal. I do whatever. Yeah.
Do you think it's more expensive now than it was when you were male? Yeah.
To be in
terms of purchasing clothes and
clothes
makeup
and stuff.
I mean, I feel like it's an obvious, probably yes answer because of, especially the makeup side of it.
It's probably like a little bit more. I think it depends how you situate your life. You know, I still buy clothes mainly from like Cotton On or Kmart or Dangerfield if I'm feeling like spending more than $40. So most of the time, my clothes are pretty cheap wherever I get them. And in regards to makeup, I haven't bought makeup in definitely at least 2 years. Because I wear it so often, so not often, so very little, that I just don't run out of it very often. Lots of people get very expensive makeup and wear it every day and need to do that again in a few months. But for me, if I'm only wearing makeup like 2 or 3 times a month, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so that it's like, it's the sort of thing where like, is it more expensive to be like, you know, a cis woman versus a cis man on average? Like, probably yes. But
yeah, especially not just in talking about like fashion. There's so
yeah,
much more other stuff.
there's lots of other things. Like sanitary products still cost money, which is fucking absurd. If you ever need free sanitary products for people that have periods, hit up any queer department at any university or any women's department at any university. They should have shitloads of pads and tampons if you are needing them for free. That's my subtle plug.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But yeah, like I think for me it doesn't affect my life very much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not much of a makeup person.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best I do is put a comb through my hair, and that's very rarely now, because I
Very
usually shave my hair short enough that I don't need to.
I've also cut my hair. I cut my hair when? In like January of this year, and beforehand it was like, you know, it was like way down here, and even in the video it was the last video it was pretty long, and so now I don't have to like brush my hair over anymore. It's so weird not brushing my hair every day, but it just doesn't get knotty anymore, so I have to wait till it gets longer again. Yeah. Have to deal with that sort of shit.
Do you have, when it comes to going out and buying clothes, especially female-oriented clothes, did you have to build up confidence over time to do that? Because you were saying last time how you bought like online because you were too afraid to go into stores and stuff.
Yeah. At first it was definitely a thing that I was scared about. The last time you interviewed me was about the point where I stopped being scared of that stuff. Before that time, when I wasn't as out when I was just sort of figuring things out, exploring. My hair wasn't long, didn't have any makeup, didn't know how to do any of that, didn't have any clothes. You know, I couldn't present that way and then go in to a like a shop, you know? So I'd have to go in to an op shop and just kind of look at things and buy something and not talk about it and probably not make eye contact. And then I could try stuff, you know? I bought a few things online early on. I got a lot of, what is the word? Secondhand stuff from like friends and stuff. But yeah, I specifically remember the first time I ever went out outside in a dress was the same day that I was going to meet a friend to go buy more dresses. And I was wearing something actually quite similar to this dress, which, you know, looks like this. This is not good views. So this is my house, so I can do whatever I want. Yeah, it was a very similar dress to this. It was very standard, very boring, normal dress. And I met with a friend, and we bought some more dresses, and it was fucking great. I was really nervous, but nothing bad happened, and I got the things that I wanted out of it. I felt more comfortable to do that then. So yeah, I haven't felt nervous in a shop buying clothes in so long, in so long. Like I said, at this point, I'm very comfortable to just fucking walk around any section of the shop and look at things and pick them up and go, mine now. And I don't care if people are like, why are you holding a tie and heels, or, you know, like the most stereotypically gendered things that I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, yeah.
Cool. All right, let's move into the next section, I guess.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I think this one, from memory, will have like a decent amount of stuff in it.
Yeah, it's your friends.
Friends.
Section 2. That interview show presents Jodie and pals. I don't know why I nicknamed this stuff.
You did write this late at night.
I did, yes. I did write it quite late
in
at
your
night.
defense.
Yes. So I guess we'll focus presently just on your friends and relationships and what's changed in regards to that, and then we'll go into the more LGBT oriented
Yeah,
stuff.
sure. So, last time we did an interview was 2018, the end of 2018. At that time of recording, I dated one person while I was out as trans for a period of a few months in 2018, and then we broke up. At the end of 2018, in December, I started dating some more people, and I started doing a thing called polyamory, which, if you don't know what it is, that's when you date multiple people, and you do it with consent, where you discuss with every person that you're dating, what your own rules are around dating. Hello?
Sorry.
That's okay. You want to go to the toilet or something? You get some water?
Yes.
Yeah, you can. You just walk
go
through.
for it.
Yeah, we'll just cut it. Cool, so we'll jump back in.
Yeah, so we're talking about polyamory, which I've done an interview on a few years back.
Yeah. So I'm polyamorous. I have currently 4 partners. Some of them are dating each other as well. Some of them are not dating each other as well. I live with one of my partners.
Was that hence the interruption?
Hence the interruption. It's fine. I have lived with this. We've only lived here for a few months, so this is my first time living with a partner, like officially, and it's going really, really well, really great. So that's a cool part of that dating life, I suppose.
How's the financial side on that end? I have no idea how many times my mom keeps trying to get me to leave the house. I'm like, but all my movies are here.
The financial end of dating multiple people, is that what you mean?
More or less of
or the
living together, yeah, especially, yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of living together, we kind of just split it pretty evenly. My partner makes like more money than I do at the moment. Have been job hunting for the last like 3 months. I might get a job very soon because I got a call from one of the places I left my resume in. So hopefully I'll get a job. But yeah, it's pretty even. I do most of the shopping, and we do cooking pretty evenly. We do cleaning pretty evenly. The house is pretty small. It's just a small 2-bedroom place, so it's quite manageable. But yeah, that's the majority of our finances, right? Everything else is like an individual thing. So if I want to spend money on some fucking magic cards, which I do usually, I'll go do that. And I will just be a responsible adult enough to make sure that I know I have to pay rent and bills. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
How much is rent?
Here,
It's monthly?
yeah, it's monthly. It's like 1700 and something.
Okay, jeez. A month?
Yeah.
1,700 a month. Wow.
Which is, it's about 400 a week for a 2-bedroom place, which is,
Yeah, I guess that's reasonable.
it's like, it's pretty, it's standard for places that are, within 30 minutes from the city, which this location very much is. So if you were to go, 20 or so minutes east from here, it'd probably be quite a bit cheaper, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess what about with the relationships, with the financial stuff? Like, is that ever a problem?
I don't know. It's
like, do you think is there more, like, say, outside of like the obvious, like, oh, say we go to a restaurant, we both split the bill kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is there more money prioritization to one relationship over another? Like, we'll go to Macca's for this person, or I'll go to a fancy restaurant with this person.
No.
No. I'll
No.
buy this person $300 birthday gift, and this person I'll give
it's
them
not
a
like that.
plastic
No.
ring.
No, all of my partners either are pretty poor or have been pretty poor. So they understand, sometimes anniversaries or birthdays will come up and you just like don't have enough money to get the present that you really want to get. So you make do. But in terms of like going out to places, we'll just do whatever we want, and whatever we can afford. So I have a partner, Will, who has started coming to a magic event with me, and we will like both spend money to do that because we both care about that, but some of my other partners don't want to go to those regularly, so they won't do that. Other of my partners really want to go see the Sonic the Hedgehog movie because great memes, and then we'll go do that. But yeah, like none of my partners have hobbies or like hobbies that I do with them that are much more expensive than others, so it's pretty like average all around. In terms of time spent with, I guess that's more the thing where it's not entirely even. Obviously, I live with one of my partners, so I see her every day. And the other 3, I will usually see 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes they'll come stay here. Sometimes they'll go stay at their place. We're all in a D&D group together that usually runs every week, so we'll see each other at that. Yeah.
Are your partners, I mean, you don't have to disclaim as to what they are, but are your partners also on, like, say, trans or just cis or...
Yeah, all of my partners are trans. 3 of my partners are trans women. One of my partners is non-binary trans masc, looking to start testosterone at some point in the future. So, yeah. I've had exes in the past, 3 or 4 of them in the last year and a half. So, relationships fluctuate. Haven't been dating all of the people for the same amount of time. Yeah. One of the partner that I live with, I've been dating for over a year. Whereas, like, my newest relationship was August last year. So all of them over 6 months at the moment, but one of them more, you know. That's the dating stuff, I guess. In terms of friendships, I don't really know how to friends anymore, cause this is the polyamorous problem. Okay, I am very. When I like a person, I'm like, okay, cool, let's be in love with each other. I get very intimate with people that I care about, and because I'm polyamorous, it's often not a problem. We'll just start dating. But now I don't really know how to have very consistent friendships where we don't do heavy emotions at each other, or sex or whatever. So I'm trying to get better at doing that, because there's a few people that like I went on a few dates with, and they were like, "Yeah, not really feeling the dating thing, but we should be friends." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." Everyone knows what that means. And then they keep trying to be friends with me, and I'm like, "Oh, you do want to be friends? How the fuck do I do that?" Like, oh, I have to invest energy in you, but I can't fall in love with you. This is hard. But I still have like a decent network of friends. I have different groups of friends, I guess. I'm still close with some of the people from high school. Not all of them, but some of them. That's what I call the cis friends, because they're all not trans and they're all so boring. No offense, but lots of offense. And then I have a few friends, like I mentioned before, that I've met like via trying to go on dates with them, or friends of my partners, or just within this wide circle of the trans community, everybody fucking knows each other. So I've just met people through that and are friends with some people. I have friends that are like specifically friends for when I'm at this location, I guess. Like, I'm friends with people in the Swinburne Queer department, but probably never going to talk to them outside of that space. Nothing like if it happens, you know, I'm happy to do that, but it's more just like a casual sort of friendship.
Yeah, like with colleagues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like if you and I had a shared space on university, it'd be the same thing. You know, I'd just be like, "Yeah, I see Julian at this place, and we fucking hang out and talk." And then probably not going to talk to him any other time.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, that's...
Yeah, and like it's the same thing for when I go play Magic at game stores. Similar things where I'm like, "Hey, you're a regular person I play Magic with. I'm friends with you on Facebook. Never going to try and hang out with you 1v1, like one-on-one ever." Yeah. I said 1v1.
Yeah, whenever I hang out with my friends, we also fight. What are you talking about?
So that's friends and dating. Was there more to that question? I can't remember.
Well, it was, again, just a broad topic, so...
Yeah.
Have you, since our last interview, have you had any more or any problems with friends that have just kind of purposely distanced from you because you're openly trans?
No, not most of that stuff was kind of done by the time we'd done that interview. What did happen is in 2019 I moved into a house with 3 high school friends, which was great because I got to live in a house for the first time since being a child, which is so much better than a tiny shitbox place that doesn't have like an oven or a laundry or anything. Houses are cool. If you live in a house, mad privilege, respect it. But living with 3 people from high school gets tricky, especially when you start doing that and also start getting radically into dating and sex at the same time. Because before I moved in, I wasn't dating anyone. I started dating people right at the end of 2018. And then I started dating everyone. And it's hard to be an active housemate if you're not at the house. And I wasn't at the house very often because I was at other people's houses doing my own shit. Some of those relationships with those housemates didn't really end on the best terms. But, you know, I'm sure if we saw each other, it'd be fine. We're just probably not going to talk until, you know, unless we have to. But yeah, that's about the gist of that. Yeah. I wasn't a very good housemate, and then some of them weren't very good friends to me in response, is my perspective of how that happened. But, you know, it happens.
Yeah, fair enough. Has your... obviously, it sounds like that your friends group has broadened in terms of people in the LGBT plus community.
Yeah. At time of recording, last interview, I didn't really have a wide support group. I was definitely, you know, in the Swinburne queer department very often, and knew all those people. But like I said, I've never had really, really close relationships with people from there. Well, Stompy Boy's upstairs.
Very much so.
Righto.
There are giant rats in the attic.
Yeah. All my clones. My little rat clones.
Okay.
Interesting if that stays in the video.
Well, I think it's more like, but does that mean that you're the rat? Does that mean you've merged them with the rat?
Yeah, I'm the rat. Trans culture is actually just calling yourself a gremlin, so every day being like, look at me, I'm such a pretty gremlin. I'm the most beautiful goblin in the entire world.
Gremlins and goblins are different things.
I know that. I'm both. I'm bi-gender. Stop erasing me. But yeah, so my community has definitely become wider and more queer, which is good. I like that for me. All of my partners are obviously very queer. You would have to be to date me anyways. But they all are in their own respects, and all of their friends, for the most part, are queer. So, yeah, most of the people I know and hang out with are queer. That fucking rocks. I love that. Love that for me.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, most of my friends, if not all, are just like film nerds. So it's like
same hat, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my my privilege there. I guess. If you benefit, I feel like it's not really a privilege. Yeah. It's a benefit. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess we can go on to the next section.
Sweet.
Talking about the more hard-hitting stuff in section 3, the outside world. Yes. So we'll...
Don't go outside. Quarantine. Hashtag COVID-19 quarantine. Hashtag interview whilst quarantining. COVID-19 interview 2020. Hashtag money. You just call this video the COVID video, and then you get 4 million clicks.
Oh, damn, that would be so good, yeah. They'll be like, what? What's happening?
Yeah.
Where's... I don't know. So...
I have a meme. Can I do a meme?
Yeah, sure.
Have you heard that someone... so sex work is real work, and sex workers are cool. And one of my friends or something... saw a sex worker's tweet that was like, many vids had suggested that you make themed porn around COVID-19 because it's trending right now and we want to make money. So the algorithm is just like, make porn about what's trending right now, COVID-19. It's like, oh no.
It's like,
oh, don't do that.
It's like, it's not even to the extent of it being like the generic doctor roleplay. It's like they actually dress up as the big, like, the life-size version, not life-size, that would be too small, like a gigantic version of the actual COVID-19 or the bacteria.
Yeah, that's... I was thinking it would just be people coughing on each other, but yeah.
Touching each other's faces.
Not good. Don't do it. Stay safe, kids.
Fair enough. Of course, I guess that leads enough into the social media aspect of our discussion now. Yeah. So, pride and open discussions via social media. How does that fun stuff happen? Do you get rambled on by social media? Because last time you did say you had a Tumblr.
Yes, yeah. So Oh yeah, the Tumblr was super running during time of yeah. Okay, so what happened? In 2017, I came out on Facebook in the middle of 2017. Nothing went wrong. Everything went pretty good. I changed my name in late 2017 on Facebook. Nothing went wrong. Everything went pretty good. I've come out as other things in the past, like came out as non-binary at some point last year. Nobody really cared. Just fine.
It's the best kind of support.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like no news is good news, I guess. Yeah. People liked it and stuff, and people were nice. It's just it's just not been a big deal, because by that time, the majority of my friends were queer anyways. So who cares? I had a Tumblr. I technically still do have that Tumblr, but I don't use it anymore.
I don't think anyone uses Tumblr anymore.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Tumblr's a bit of a website, a bit of a whole place. In 2017, I made a Tumblr for the specific purposes of posting photos of myself in different outfits and in different points of my transition, so that I could look back on it one day. And so that I could get advice on what to do, if things looked good, if they looked bad, and also to meet other trans people online, which was a really, really positive experience for me. I met tons of people on Tumblr that were so sweet, so nice. None of them I have stayed in contact with, but they were all very nice. Some people drew me like a couple of times, which was like really humbling, really amazing, and like really good, like really, really nice art of just me. One of them was even like an imagined version of what I would look like, a year into HRT or something like that. And it's kind of surprising how close to now that actually looks. Maybe we'll put the photo up now, the drawing. This is what it is, and it was drawn way before my hair was that long and way before I had boobs. So that was really cool. I've been in queer groups. I've been in non-queer groups on Facebook. I don't really do Twitter, but I've been in queer and non-queer groups on Facebook and started fights. Not for the purpose of starting fights, but for the purposes of defending trans people.
So this isn't a queer version of Fight Club?
No, it's not. Apparently that's not it. I haven't seen that movie, which is like a sin to you, but apparently there's not an actual Fight Club in that movie. Spoilers. It's just in his head, right?
No.
Oh, no, there is?
There is an actual Fight Club, yes.
Oh, okay.
There is multiple actual Fight Clubs.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a basement where a bunch of dudes just fight each other.
Shout out to those guys.
Commentary and stuff.
There was a queer group that I was in called Subtle Queer Traits, which got very popular in 2018, that I just fucking literally burnt down to the ground, because I posted some stuff about a customer at work being transphobic to me, and someone responded like in a really shitty way, and then we got into a big heated discussion about how what he said was shitty, and him being like, no, I think it's fine. And then the mods of the page were like, hey, just if you don't like things, just don't start arguments and just deal with it and just move on. And then everyone in the page was like, hey, that's a fucked up way to run pages. Don't let transphobia happen in your queer space. And then tons of people left the group and made big posts calling the admins piece of shit. And they started a new group called Subtle Queer Traits 2, something, no transphobia this time. Or something like that.
No transphobic boogaloo.
Yeah. And that was on me. So that was cool. I don't care. But yeah, I mean, that's like the extent of my online presence, really. Sometimes I'll have discussions on groups or photos and be like, hey, what you just said is shit. And sometimes they'll be like, fuck you. And sometimes they'll be like, okay. Or sometimes they'll be like, oh, thank you for letting me know it was shit. I'll try and do better. Doesn't happen anywhere near as often, but it's cool when it does. Yeah, I don't have a very active online... Oh, wait. wait a sec, I just forgot. I don't have a very active online presence, except I also have a YouTube channel, which I made literally a few weeks after we filmed our last one, because I wanted to film HRT update videos every month of starting HRT. I filmed an unboxing video of me unboxing my hormones for the day that I got them. I filmed a 1 month update, a 2 month update, a 4 month update, and that's it. Nothing else. But people seem to like them. I think 6,000 people in India really liked one of them. Because it had that many views and they were from India. I looked at the stats on it. So
Yeah, that's right.
shout out to India. If you're watching India, cool.
Turns out India is just one person.
Yes, but they've watched 6,000 times the
Yeah.
video. They're like, it's a great video.
Refresh.
Do it again, yeah. Yeah, that's my online stuff.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I don't remember what the next question is.
Me neither.
I love when that happens. It happens often. Or I should say, used to happen often when I did these.
When you did interviews,
yeah. The best thing. The workplace.
Yeah, cool.
So yes, what's it like being trans in the workplace?
I've only ever done this once because I've only ever had one job whilst trans. I worked at a place called Solomon Kosher Butcher in southeast Melbourne for the period of late 2017 to early 2019. So I had worked there for about a year last time we recorded. I started the job when I knew I was trans, but was not in a position to come out. I didn't have a new name, wasn't really comfortable using pronouns yet, so I just started with dead name, no trans stuff, didn't tell them about it. And then a month into working there, I was like, yeah, this trans stuff's definitely gonna happen. So I told my boss, I guess, I was like, hey, nothing's going to happen right now, but I am definitely going to transition in the future because I'm trans. I'm a trans woman. And, I just thought I'd let you know now so that if you want to replace me, you should do it soon because I've only been here for a month and it would suck if you kind of fired me 6 months into this job or whatever. And they were like, haha, it's so illegal to do that. We would never do that. We're not going to fire you. And also, good job being brave and telling me and trans people are cool. And I was like, hey, that's a good way to do things. Nice. And then I proceeded to compromise a lot in that job. My opinions on how to come out as trans and how to interact as a trans person in the world were a lot different than they are now. A year or two ago, I used to be a lot more patient with people who made mistakes or who wanted me to ease them into stuff. I don't care about that anymore. I just kind of will live my own life, and I'm not really willing to pretend to not be myself in any circumstance. I'm not going to wear a trans flag everywhere I go. I'm not going to wear it to work. But I'm not going to pretend to be a dude at any point. I think at this stage of my transition, for the most part, it would be confusing if I did. But I usually I just kind of roll with whatever people give me at this point. I'm comfortable enough in my gender to just be like, yeah, whatever, call me this pronoun, whatever. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them. But if people he, him, me, I'm not very bothered by it anymore. Which is just my own stuff. In terms of in the workplace, the place I worked was a kosher butcher, which means it is for Jewish customers to buy meat that is made in a certain way that is for their religion.
Much like halal.
Much like halal. Much more expensive than any other meat you can get from anywhere else, and much more median age of customers to be like 50 years old and Jewish and very Jewish. So I got misgendered a lot, And I wasn't really in a position to correct them about it because the customers I interacted with for like 40 seconds and then they left because I ran a till. And they were very old. And if I was like, haha, actually I'm a girl, they'd be like, okay, bye. So I just kind of dealt with that. I stopped working at that job because I moved house. I mentioned I moved house with those 3 other people to a location that was quite different, and I worked mornings at that job. And I was like, I don't have the mental health to get up at 5 a.m. to get to work 3 days a week. I just can't do it. So I stopped doing that. Overall, the job was pretty good. The vast majority of my coworkers were always supportive. Some of them sucked, not to name names, but a few of you sucked, and like just avoided my pronouns or avoided my new name when I introduced my new name in the workplace. I went by Joe. My name is Jodie. I went by Joe for like so many months at that butcher. And at the time, it was fine, but I regret it so much now because I definitely would have preferred to be called Jodie. And there are still some people in my life that call me Joe, and I'm like, fuck off. That's not my name. Yeah, whatever. Is that a good answer? I'm a bit all over the place today.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about when it comes to actually like job hunting, as you mentioned earlier? Like, I don't think that in our current climate there would be much transphobia, but have you experienced any when it comes to job hunting?
So with job hunting, I've been kind of job hunting on and off for about a year. I've been very actively job hunting in the last 3 months, whereas, periods of the last year I've been like, okay, for this week I'm going to submit a bunch of resumes and try really hard and then don't hear anything back and then I forget about it and like whatever. Or stuff comes up and I just don't have the energy to keep doing that. I have not had a single other job interview since I left that job in the start of last year. Like I said, I got a call literally yesterday, where I might get another job interview, which would be really cool because I need a job. So I can't talk about like experiencing transphobia in the interview process because I haven't had the interview process. What I will say is that I am very, very certain that employers do discriminate in their like selection process. Nothing on my resume says that I'm trans. Nothing in my cover letters say that I'm trans. But even having a name that sounds more female, Jodie, is like probably doing me worse than if I had a masculine name in my resume. Because people who pick people for interviews, or the algorithms, or whoever ends up making that decision, are incentivized to pick what will make them the most money. And society, on average, likes cis people more than trans people, because they don't have to think about it or deal with it, and nobody is really cis-phobic, but lots of people are transphobic. So it makes sense for employers, if they want to make the most money, to not hire trans people, at least in jobs where those trans people interact with customers. Despite it making sense financially and economically, it's a fucked up thing to do, so don't do that. Hire trans people. Perhaps even consider hiring them more, because statistically they're going to have a harder time to get a job, and statistically they're going to be more poor. Yeah, I'll let you know what the interview process is like if I ever get one. Hopefully I'll get one soon. Yeah, I've applied to probably 150 jobs on Seek literally in this year, and heard nothing back, essentially. I've had a lot of people say no, and a lot of people say nothing, which, is fine. That's what it's like. That's what Seek is like. Anyways, regardless of who you are. But yeah, it's hard. It is hard. Yeah. It's hard to apply for tons of jobs, knowing that even when you do get that job, you probably won't be respected in your identity 100% of the time, and not get any offers anyways. You're like, yeah, cool. I'll keep trying, I guess. Yeah.
How about with uni? Because are you in your final year of uni? You done yet? Because obviously you're still in it, so...
Yes, I'm still at uni. This is my 4th year of university.
Same.
I will be in this course for a while. I've been doing 3 subjects a year since 2018. Not a year, 3 subjects a semester since 2018. So even if I was to be passing all of my subjects, which, spoiler alert, I am not, it would be taking me like 5 or 6 years to finish my course. Currently my 4th year, I'm not even halfway through it. I think I'm just a bit less than halfway through it, so we'll see what happens. I'll probably keep doing it. The main reason I'm doing it right now is because of youth allowance, to be quite honest. So if money situations change, maybe I will stop the degree or do a different degree or whatever. But for the meantime, it's fine. In terms of university and being trans, I can talk about that a lot. It's really hard in most universities to be trans and to be supported, especially if you are just new to being trans, because things happen where you can't change your name in the system. You can add a preferred name, but it won't show up anywhere. Won't show up on the class rolls for sure. It won't show up on your email for sure. I've tried. And so if you're a trans student who hasn't been able to afford a name change or isn't ready to get a name change or like a legal name change, or can't do it for their own safety because they, can't be out at their own home or something like that, then basically go fuck yourself is what the university says. For 2 years of university, every single lecture and shoot in week 1, I would go up to the lecturer and tutor and say, hey, in the system, I'm going to be under X name. My actual name is Jodie. I'm a trans woman. If you could call me she, her pronouns. If you don't know what that means, basically just treat me as if I'm a girl. I am a girl. I understand if you make mistakes, but please, this is important to me. And that really is an awkward, anxiety ridden conversation most of the time. Lots of people aren't up for doing that conversation. And I would absolutely understand why, because it sucks that you have to do that. Sometimes tutors will be like, yeah, absolutely, Jodie, nice to meet you. Always do my best. Please let me know if I'm doing anything wrong. Thank you. You're great. And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, that's cool. I might make mistakes, so sorry, but yeah, it's just a whole thing. I don't get to know the students very well, which is a less good response, and you just have to deal with it. But I've never had a teacher literally tell me that they weren't going to use my pronouns or anything, because if they did, I would take them to the officials at the university, and it would be a whole fucking news story where X university has transphobic teachers, and then that would look really bad for the university. So nobody is ever going to really do that in today's society. It would be very unlikely. But it still sucks. It's still very hard. In terms of Swinburne specifically, myself and another trans student, who's actually not a student anymore, we were talking about this and talking about other trans issues that we faced at uni to one of our... We're both in creative writing, so we're talking to one of our writing conveners about it. And the writing convener, her name's Julia, she was like, we should do something about this. We should try and change the preferred name stuff or put some things in place to make it easier for trans students to be trans students at uni, because that all sounds really fucked up and I didn't know about it. And then Sorry. I touched the mic. Oh, sorry. Got the COVID. I'm kidding. I've just been talking nonstop. Where was I? So, yes, from that conversation with Julia and with my ex-student friend Kai, we kind of just made like a team of staff and trans students that were all meeting every few months to like talk about trans issues and try and work on things in the uni, try and like beat down the the bureaucratic bullshit, I guess, and get to the root of the problem. We had several conversations with people that were in charge of emails. I can't remember what the results ended up being, but I changed my name legally, so it doesn't matter to me anymore, or it doesn't matter specifically. It doesn't affect me anymore. It's still an important issue. I think you can change your name now with the emails. It's definitely still very hard, but I think you can do it. I'm not sure. The main issue that they were citing is lots of students are connected to Centrelink, essentially, for one reason or another. And if you change your name formally on the university and Centrelink picks up on it, they'll be like, haha, who is this student, you know? Which is like pretty bullshit excuse, you know? Set up a system that doesn't make changing their name formally the only way to show up the name they want in a classroom or on an email. Like, just make a better system, you know? But yeah, point being, that group, we developed something called the Gender Agenda, where usually once or twice a semester, we will host an event, usually at the uni bar on campus, Hammer and Swine, and we will invite all trans people to come and all staff to come, and any students, I guess just anyone who wants to come, and learn about what trans issues are happening at uni at the moment or in the wider world, learn about better ways to treat trans people at university, and for the trans people who come specifically to have a support network of people, to have staff members that they can recognize as supportive of trans people, and to have trans students that they can, you know, become friends with and build friends with and that sort of thing. We've had some guest speakers. I've only been to 2 of those. I think we've had 3 or 4 in the time that group has existed. So yeah, that's that. That's a thing. If you are a Swinburne student who is trans, who would like to know more about it, comment on this YouTube video and I'll look at it, or Julian will look at it and tell me, and I'll get in touch with you. Yeah. So that's about uni life, I think.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, it's not that fun.
No.
But it's doable. You know, you're not very often going to experience active transphobia where people are like, you know, trans people suck, or trans people shouldn't exist, or you know, gay marriage is bad. That doesn't happen very often at all. Very, very, very rare. The stuff that you will hear all the time is people in lectures saying he or she, or saying men and women, which is just so fucking annoying for any person that is not either of those things. I have so many friends who are non-binary and use they, them pronouns who are just like, please just acknowledge me once. It's so easy to say they instead of he or she. Why are you doing this? But yeah, you know, we make do.
With that stuff, was that more like in the broad sense of the lecturer or tutor talking about, like, say, a person in particular, or actually this person who is trans?
It happened, no,
or
so,
non-binary or
yeah,
whatever?
it's not in reference to trans people. It's usually, like, in reference to the lecture theatre, like, all you young men and women, or something like that, or like statistically the men and women in this class, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it'll be like, it'll have very gendered language because lots of texts do. Like if you study any form of history or philosophy, even writing, lots of stuff will be written where, we're talking about just humans in general, and it says he or man or whatever, because that's how people used to write, because women didn't exist then or whatever. And lecturers will be like, they'll read it and they'll read he, and then they'll go or she, and it's like, that's not better. Like, it's a little bit better, but if you're gonna try and be more inclusive, just don't gender the comment that doesn't need to be gendered. It's clearly not a gendered thing, so just say they. Just make it gender neutral. It's so easy. But I get how most people don't think about that sort of stuff unless it affects them directly. So that's why we're trying to do things at the uni that will make people think about stuff like that more.
Yeah. I guess we can move into talking about media representations of trans and I guess even just LGBT plus peoples.
Yeah.
But have you seen, I don't know, is it a prominent thing that you see? Has it potentially improved since at least since the last interview?
I think it's getting more common. There have not been many notable things since then that I can pick out that didn't exist beforehand. One Day at a Time is a show that was on Netflix that is really good and has a non-binary character who is done really, really well, and and a lesbian character who is dating them. That's done very well. I really like how BoJack Horseman handles asexuality with one of its main characters. What else? There's a show called Euphoria that I haven't seen that is basically just Skins, but modern.
Yeah.
And it has a trans woman in it, and I'm pretty sure that's handled pretty well, but I haven't seen it. Don't quote me.
I mean, I've seen it. I feel like, I guess it is, I haven't seen any complaints about it, at least.
Yeah. So
like, I wouldn't be the expert on the topic, so I wouldn't be able to say, that's the best I've ever seen. It's like...
Yeah,
but I mean, last time when we had the interview, I was like saying, like, trans people were like the punchlines of films and stuff, so it's like,
I think a lot of what people are doing... it's starting to get more common where they just put a trans actor who passes really, really well and just don't talk about it the entire time. I think Jason Segel has a show that's coming out very soon that is going to just essentially do that. Again, haven't seen the show. It's not even entirely out yet. But I know it has a trans character, a trans actress in it who's just like love interest girl. And that's fine, it's okay, it's cool. I have a problem with it whatsoever if they want to do representation like that. I like shows that are queer, and I like when they do that properly. One of my favorite shows in the entire world is a show called Steven Universe by Rebecca Sucrose, Rebecca Sugar. And even though the majority of characters in that show are not strictly human, they do really good representation of not cis identity, I guess, and not straight identity, I guess. Even though nobody is specifically like, yes, I am gay, I am doing the gay thing. There's lots of people that are dating in that show that both use the same pronouns, for example. Or there's lots of people that their gender changes throughout the show, something like that is an example. So I think that's great. I don't follow much like celebrity news or anything. I know that there definitely have been celebrities that have been coming out as trans since the time that we filmed last one.
Yeah.
But I don't really follow it very much.
I don't know, there was that film that Scarlett Johansson was meant to be on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Scarlett
she was meant to
Johansson was
play-
gonna play a trans man. That's a shit thing to do. We'll just put that on the record. Cis people should not play trans people. That's a shit thing to do. The reason is that it reinforces a stereotype that trans people are not actually trans, that they are just a cis person pretending to be the other gender. So if you put a cis person and you cast them playing a gender that they're not, playing a trans person, it's very damaging for any trans people who are watching it, and any non-trans people who are watching it who will start to think this is what trans people are, they're just acting. It's shit. It's a shit thing to do. Don't do it. Hire trans people for trans roles, please. There's definitely enough of them out there to get those jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember there was that show a few years back where it had one of the main actors who I think is actually just a cis man was playing a trans woman, and that was like a really big show for a while. Like it had like
Do you
got
know what
Emmys
show it
and
was?
stuff. Oh, I can't remember what it was. It was like on Stan or something. I was like getting like a lot of big Emmys and stuff because it's like, oh look, it's representation and stuff, and
Yeah.
that was thing. But it's like,
But it wasn't great.
I mean, I think to some degree it was because it was still like a step in the right direction. But yeah,
It
I
was
I
still
never
good
really,
representation, just
yeah.
like executed poorly.
I don't. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I-
I haven't seen the show. So,
Yeah, if I knew what the
but
show was called, I could.
I know it definitely got a lot of media buzz because of that. But then even that seemed to be. It's like maybe it's because trans is like
Trendy?
yeah, kind of trendy. Yeah, it's like because it's trendy. Let's make a
Yeah.
TV show that has a trans character.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely noticing rainbow capitalism stuff happening a shitload more now than it was, even 5 years ago. When I refer to rainbow capitalism, what I mean is the concept of when Pride events are happening or when Pride Month is happening, companies changing their logos to a pride flag or producing queer products specifically for that period of time so that they can make a shitload of money, and for no other reason, because they're still not treating their queer employees properly, and it only happens at that time of year when it is trendy for them to do it.
Yes.
People are trans all the time, every day of every year if they're trans, and they're not doing it to be trendy because it's not popular. It's becoming more acceptable.
Yeah.
It is becoming, in some parts of the year, a way to make money, but it is not a trend. It is a way. It is who you are. It's just being who you are.
Did you hear about that thing? I think it was probably in America because it makes sense that's America. The whole I think it was cis march or or straight white men march or something like that. Like why don't straight white people have their own?
Yeah. There was this was last year. There was so they were going to do a Pride March, which happens lots of times. Melbourne does a Pride March where a bunch of queer people, every queer person in the city is welcome to come get in a march and walk from this place to another and show off how proud you are about existing. It's a really nice thing. It's great for building community. It's cool. And lots of places do it. And I think it was like Chicago or something in America. I don't know. It's some pretty decently sized place in America where a bunch of straight people got real fed up with it and they decided they were going to have their own straight march. And then the police had to allow it to happen because I don't know what the laws are over there, but for whatever reason the police were well on board, which is so fucking gross. And I think it happened. I can't remember if it happened or not.
I think it did. Just most of the internet just kind of mocked them for being kind of immature.
It's a very dumb thing.
Yeah.
I mean, while we're here having controversial takes, I'll just make it.
It's Jodie's hot take moment.
Yeah, I'll just make it clear that no cops at Pride. We should not have cops at Pride. Even if police officers are queer, gay, or transgender in another way whatsoever, they're welcome to come to Pride. But if they're coming to Pride as a police officer, they should not be coming to Pride, because historically, police officers have oppressed queer people shitloads of times. Especially in this country, Mardi Gras were illegal, and tons of gay people got really, really hurt. And probably some of them died. I don't know the stats on that. And yeah, police suck. Not all police officers are bad people, but the institution itself justifies it to have bad people in it, which is not great, because police officers have a lot of power.
Is that less of police coming there to protect and make sure that there's no violence or outbreaks or stuff like that, and more of they're there to enforce laws and stuff and be like, yo, you can't walk?
Usually it's well, usually it's some form of both, because you know, a march is sometimes quite similar to a protest, so they're going to make sure that people are not damaging any, like, what's it called? Damaging any public property, or, you know, attacking anyone or getting in fights, or people are fighting each other, whatever. Yeah. That is the theory of it. Whether it goes down that way is, you know, often up for debate, you know. This is not specifically a queer event, but last year people were holding a protest at IMARC, which was a coal conference, essentially. Lots of people were protesting that because they're like, hey, maybe let's not use coal when climate change exists. And it got really messy in Melbourne. Lots of people got trampled. Tons of the crowd got pepper sprayed, including people that weren't even protesting, just civilians and journalists. People broke their arms. There were cops there that were spouting fascist bullshit. So, you know, we don't like cops not because all of them do bad things. We don't like cops because the bad things that happen, that they do, don't get punished, and they get to keep being in the police force and wielding way too much power over everyone. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I do not speak for all queer people, just the good ones.
All right. It's a very broad take, for sure. I guess it's probably a decent enough time to talk more about discrimination and how much of it has affected you, if any.
Sure. I'm very lucky that I've never experienced any hardcore discrimination. I've never been assaulted or harassed, you know, physically or sexually or anything like that. I've been misgendered a ton of times. I've been misgendered, corrected people, and told to fuck off a decent amount of times. I've had people point at me or make jokes at me or laugh at me or whatever. Most of the time I haven't even noticed that, because when I'm out in public I just listen to podcasts or music. So the only times that's really happened is I've been with someone and they've like gone to defend me and I've been like, wait, what happened? They're like, oh, that person was like giving you a really bad look or like made a joke or something. And I'm like, oh, didn't notice. Okay. Yeah, I think that I would be much more at risk of active discrimination if I were a few other things. If I was a person of color, absolutely, way more likely. If I was much more of an active protester, if I was loud, if I was over the top, if I was wearing things that are much more, you know, socially unacceptable than just this dress, then I would probably get yelled at more or whatever, because I'm sure that happens to people. I'm very lucky that that doesn't happen to me for the reasons that I've listed. But I know that every day when I go out, that there will be people that are transphobic that I will interact with. If I interact with them, whether that's, an active transphobia where they will say something to me, or a passive transphobia where they don't know anything about trans people but don't know how to treat them properly, or are too ashamed of, or not ashamed, but too scared of PC culture to say anything, but definitely think that I am a monster or something. I know that those people exist in this country. So I just do my best to, when I'm out on my own, listen to music, keep my head down for the most part. For the most part, I guess is what I would say. When I'm with other people, I feel a lot more safe. I've started playing this game with my friend Will, not my friend, my fucking boyfriend Will, where sometimes I like to wear my trans flag as like a cape outside in public because I'm literally allowed to do that, and I like to be proud of myself, and I like to show off that I'm trans sometimes, even when it's not Pride Month. I've started doing that. And sometimes when I'm doing that with Will, I play a game with them called Trans Rights, and how you play that game is you go up to any stranger, or just one that you're walking past, or like someone who gets on the train when you're getting off or something like that, and you just say, "Hey, have a nice day, trans rights," and you see what happens. And most of the time, nothing happens, but it's very funny to me just to tell people trans rights. And worst case scenario, somebody will say some shit, and best case scenario, a trans person or a person who knows someone who's trans will be like, "Thank you." And so I think that's a fun, nice thing to do. I've only played that game a few times, and I've never been assaulted for it. Most people have ignored me. That's the general reaction.
Yeah. Do you do much else in terms of like the going, like how you mentioned the flag, how you mentioned your flag and how you got that? Like obviously you've got a wristband on right now.
Yeah. I wear this wristband every day of my fucking life, and it's the trans colors, and it says Trans Pride on it.
Jeez, I hope you washed that.
Well, I wear it in the shower. It's a
it's a wristband. It's not hard. Yeah.
Yes, it's a wristband. It's plastic. So, yeah, I've worn that every day for like a few years. I forget that it's on my wrist the majority of the time, but I don't know. I like being trans. I like Trans Pride. I'm happy to show it off. But yeah, that's usually the only thing that indicates it, aside from this body. Yeah. But sometimes I'll wear the flag out. That's been a really nice experience. I like doing that. I do it for queer events, and like Midsummer is a time for like actual events in the city that are for queer people, and I've done it for that. Sorry.
That's right.
But I also just start doing it sometimes whenever. Yeah, most of the time I don't really bring up that I'm trans very often. If somebody says something that's very like binary, like I go to game stores all the time to play Magic now, and some people who are nerds, not to call out nerds, have very interesting views on gender, and they'll just say things that are very, very rigid in gender, and I'll be like, haha, just pointing out that that's not how it always works, because trans people exist. And then sometimes they'll be like, how do you know? And I'll be like, 'cause I'm trans. Bah, bah, bah. If I was a superhero, my superhero name would be the Piss Goblin, personally. Because it counts for all of my powers. Being a goblin and pissing. I've demonetized your video. And I've ruined your day. Dude, I've ruined the interview.
No, I don't.
I
don't have the 1,000 subscriber stuff that you need.
No, I know. I've just intentionally said the most awful thing I could think of to ruin this interview. Yes. Cool.
Are there actually any trans superheroes?
Oh, actually, no. Going back to the media thing, there's a fucking TV show that is literally Superwoman, right? And she's played by a trans character, a trans actress.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. But there's probably some superheroes that are trans, but like not in the mainstream, you know. Yeah. I had a theory that if you've seen The Incredibles 2, that Void is trans. I have a theory about that. If you look at her body type specifically, it's like much less curvy than any other female like superhero in that design. Yeah. And lots of people online have like written their own comics or art about Void being trans, which is so cool and so wholesome. Great. The voice actor of Void came out and said that she's not trans because the voice actor is not trans, and she wasn't written to be trans, but she super supports any trans people who identify with Void, and she still has similar, you know, journey stuff to what trans people would have in terms of, you know, being a superhero that, when being a superhero is not an okay thing to do in society. It's a blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. What else have I written
What
on
else
this
you got?
terrible list that
That was all right.
through 17 different programs to get to? Yeah. Well, because like the recording program on this, when it's up, like you have to click the home button to activate your phone, and then once you sign in, it like jumps out, like goes to your actual homepage. I'm like, how did that help? I was literally in an app.
It's all very cool and interesting, but I have discovered by clicking on the iPod that I can see my voice waves when I speak into the microphone, and so I'm going to try and make a heartbeat. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Okay, that got boring very quickly.
I guess we've only got 2 more things left to talk about.
Yeah.
More or less, do you stay up to date with the, you know, representation and gender politics news? Is it a thing that you are interested in?
Nah.
Because obviously, just because you're trans doesn't mean you're always nose deep in a Wikipedia page about trans stuff.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care very much. When I don't really keep up with much news in general, I find news to be very depressing. So when I find out about things, I find out about them. When the Prime Minister of Australia says that trans people are gender whisperers, I'll hear about it and I'll have opinions about it. But I don't actively try and keep up with that sort of shit. There are a couple of like musicians that are trans that I follow, but they're American, so when they post things, it's usually about Bernie Sanders at the moment and how good Bernie Sanders is, which is like cool. Yeah, I agree. Booing is bad. But yeah, I'm not actively trying to keep in touch with anything. If I see stuff, I have opinions on it. It's about where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess lastly, safe places and whatnot.
Yeah.
And if you have any places to recommend, whether it be in person or online.
Cool. The only safe places now are in your own home. Quarantine, sheeple.
I really thank God Australians don't have to do it as badly as America, because like, it's really scary looking at how it's going now.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
Yeah.
In terms of safe places, I'm going to talk mainly about Melbourne because that's where I live. I know that there are other resources in the world and in our country, but I know about the ones specifically in Melbourne. Equinox is a place to get medication and psychs if you are trans. It has a pretty long waiting list, but it is quite good. So if you can get into there, it's good. Northside Clinic is another clinic that is quite good. I've heard decent things about the Prahran Market Clinic. I know some people who have had really good experiences there and some people who have had subpar experiences there. In terms of medical trans stuff, that's my base knowledge. Some GPs will be good, some GPs won't. Most universities should have a queer department. Swinburne has a queer department that I am very active and involved with. I've mentioned the Gender Agenda group that we made at Swinburne. Other bigger universities will have better funded and better ran, more looked after queer departments. Places like Monash and Melbourne Uni will have 2 queer officers as opposed to 1 at Swinburne, yada, yada, yada. There are trans support groups in the city. Gender is a place for trans and gender-diverse people 25 years and under. They run about 3 events a month. Usually 2 of them are like come hang out and meet people events, like a board games day or a craft day. And the other one is more of an formal education-based thing where they will bring someone in to talk about an issue, or will have an issue to talk about and have the people who come talk about the issue. They do stuff for important trans dates, like Trans Day of Remembrance or Trans Day of Visibility. Obviously, Trans Day of Visibility is coming up this month, and it's going to be hard to go outside this month, so that event's not going to happen.
Is this month is in March, or is it?
This month is in March, yeah.
Hi, it's March.
Hey, it's March. March 2020.
This video won't come out in March, but hi.
Yes, yeah. What else? Seahorse is a group for trans people that meet once a month or twice a month in Melbourne in the city. It's not restricted by age at all. It's often an older crowd. I've only been there once. You can find out details about that by looking it up. What else do I want to plug? There's places that I could plug, but like they kind of suck. So if I want to. Tumblr is a good resource if you still use Tumblr. That's a good place. You'll find lots of nice people on Tumblr and lots of weird people on Tumblr. So use that block feature as much as you want to, because it'll help you. There's lots of Facebook groups that are cool and good. Subtle Queer Traits used to be a group. There's Melbourne Trans Fam. I've only been in there for a week. I don't really use it. That's okay. There's lots of Discords. You know, if you can't find it, if you can't find things, you know, hit me up. Look me up. I'll let you know. I'll tell you about them. You'll be able to find me. Julian will put you in touch with me if you comment somewhere or whatever. I don't have all of this off the top of my head, but those are the main resources, I think. And they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always stuff to talk about.
There's always stuff to talk about.
That's all I've written down on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of like what you want out of a safe space or a support group, the best thing that I ever did for me was finding the people that I wanted to be around. And whether you find that in a support group or a queer department or just through meeting people in the community, through dating or whatever, whether it's connected to queer people or trans people or not, whether, you know, you might go play a sport and really love people from there, and that works for you. I would suggest not trying to get caught up in all of that sort of stuff, worrying about being involved with the right people or knowing as many people or being, you know, like really active in every meetup or whatever. Don't worry about it. Just find people that work for you. Be a good person. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Cool.
Cool.
I think that's all.
Trans rights.
She's not wrong.
Hey, got him.
Excellent. Well, thank you for allowing me to film your face for like almost 2 hours.
That's all right. Thank you for giving me that philosophy book.
That's how we do interviews these days. We got to make a trade for it.
Good trade. I would have done it anyways.
I know.
100% would have done it anyways.
And I would have lent the book anyway, so it's like, you know.
Look at this go.
Yeah.
This is what they call a win-win scenario.
Yes, indeed.
Cool.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out our initial interview from 2 years ago, it will be in the description or in the pop-up thingy at the end of the video. Outside of that, I think we're done.
Sorry.
Cool.
Trying to distract you.
Yes, of course. You managed to succeed. Hopefully, I will continue with doing more of that interview show. I don't know who else to interview. I do have a lecturer, a tutor from uni that I want to interview, but that's more of a memento sake.
That's
it's
cool.
like
Who is it?
It's Kaz.
Oh yeah, Kaz.
Yeah, because it's like
Have you done any of the game subjects at uni?
I haven't. No.
Okay. Are we wrapped up? Is this done?
Bye.
Comment. Tell me I'm pretty. Okay. Bye.
Yeah, tell her she's pretty.
Yeah.
Tell everyone that I'm ugly.
No, don't. No. Tell Julian that he's pretty, and tell me that I'm super mega pretty, and then it would be, well, everyone wins, but I win more. Yeah. Equality.
Of course. That's how it works. Excellent. Cool. See you next time.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Adios.